and over, I relive my first moments on this alien planet.
Hey everybody, welcome to Play Ranked Share, the show where I play the marquee PlayStation 5 titles, create an ever-evolving ranking of the best PlayStation 5 games, and share my opinions with you. My name is Tyrus, and this episode is focused on Returnal. Originally revealed at the lauded Future Gaming event in 2020, Returnal marks a huge step forward from developer Housemarque. With a long-standing tradition of arcade-based shooters, Returnal is the first AAA project from the studio and is a roguelite shooter. At the time it was released in April 2021, Returnal was only the second PS5 exclusive game released by PlayStation. I was very much looking forward to this game. Housemarque developed Returnal, which was a launch title on the PlayStation 4 and coincidentally went on to become one of my favorite games on that console. For the uninitiated, Returnal is a third-person roguelite game that has you playing as Celine, who is stuck in a time loop on an alien planet. As you explore the world she finds herself in, you are likely to be quickly overwhelmed and die, only to have Celine find herself back at the very beginning of her journey. Returnal has crushing difficulty, especially early on when you don't have any upgrades for your character. Every opportunity in the game feels like a reflection of your own risk-reward mentality. There are malfunctions and parasites that can upgrade aspects of Celine while also presenting some kind of drawback. To succeed in Returnal, the player needs to constantly experiment with different weapons and abilities to find their own ideal loadout. Every run in the game feels completely unique, making it both a thrill and difficult to predict. This makes it best to go into every run with an open mentality of what weapons and items you will find, and trying to just make the best scenario for yourself. The number one thing that brings me to a Housemarque game is their mastery at arcade gameplay design. Returnal is no exception to this. Despite all the additional bells and whistles that make this game a AAA experience, it is clearly inspired by the indie arcade roots of the studio. The bullets and enemy attacks are bright, vibrant colors just like their prior games. There's also a rhythm to playing Returnal. The player needs to learn about the pacing of enemy attacks and how to avoid them. Instead of acting and controlling the scenario, you often must react to the enemies to ensure your survival. The game is wonderfully designed but very difficult, so players always need to be aware of their surroundings. The boss battles also present a swift uptick in difficulty and provide 5 vastly different challenges for the player. I was practically hitting my head against the wall while trying to defeat the third boss, after struggling through the biome and then having the boss just quickly defeat me several times. You can never get comfortable during a boss battle. One mistake could ruin your momentum and make the battle harder and sometimes impossible. While difficult, the game never felt overbearing, and I was always confident I would eventually beat it, even if it took many attempts and many hours. Throughout the whole experience, you can tell this game was made by a studio that had mastered arcade game design, as gameplay shines so brightly in Returnal. Based on Housemarque's history, Returnal features a large jump in graphical quality. This is especially evident in character designs, with each biome presenting unique creatures. The 5 bosses all have unique designs and are decidedly different from other character designs in the game. The 4th boss is one of my favorite boss concepts and designs ever in a video game. I don't want to show the battle in case of spoilers, but the full atmosphere of the battle and the incorporation of sound design maybe was my favorite moment in a PS5 game yet. Returnal showcases biomes in different environmental settings and displays how beautiful games can look on the PS5. With that said, Returnal is clearly a showcase to how the PlayStation 5 can be a leap in quality from the PS4. Returnal contains some of the best use of the DualSense capabilities in a full game. The adaptive triggers allow you to use 2 different modes of firing with your guns. This feature was also present in Ratchet Clank Rift Apart, but the feature makes a substantial difference in Returnal. Most of Ratchet's alternative firing modes weren't essential, while a well-placed charge shot attack can keep you alive in Returnal. The controller is also constantly buzzing from the haptic feedback in the DualSense as you play. This is felt when you dash, when battling enemies, and you can even feel the rain fall on Celine. Returnal also showcases how seamless loading can be with a PlayStation 5. When you die, an animation briefly plays out and then immediately switches into a cutscene that plays before the start of every run, and just like that, you can start playing again. I was truly amazed on how it took just 2 or 3 seconds to get back into the run and keep me hooked on the game. This really fostered a just one more run mentality while also making a feature that feels truly next gen. The main discourse around Returnal when it launched was how the game did not contain a save functionality. This luckily has been patched in, and I think if gamers were on the fence about Returnal, it is now a great time to jump in. I however feel the lack of a save feature added to the madness that is presented within the light story of Returnal. I knew every time I was booting up the game I was committing to playing until I lost, even if that meant playing until 3 or 4 in the morning. I was too anxious knowing that if I left the game in rest mode I could potentially lose that save due to an update or the console getting unplugged. While this clearly isn't the ideal way to play a video game, in the moment that kind of experience felt unique, but I understand how many players wouldn't want that added stress. It took me just under 20 hours to beat Returnal. Most of this time was spent in the first half of the game, particularly the first and third biome, as I learned the language of the game and through significant trial and error, mastered how my enemies moved and attacked. But I was enthralled through every minute as the game challenged me while also giving me a beautiful world to explore. This was a challenge I wanted desperately to beat, and I was able to relatively breeze through the second half of the game after figuring out a combination of weapons and abilities that best suited my playstyle. Returnal features standout arcade gameplay mechanics and the best utilization of the DualSense to date. The game's narrative leaves the player to wonder its full implications, only giving small tidbits of backstory for Celine, and never fully explaining what is happening. The frustrating lack of a save state has luckily been patched in, and I hope this incentivizes people who are on the fence to buy this wonderful game. Overall, I think Returnal is an outstanding game, and I give it a score of 9.5 out of 10. No game on the PS5 has gripped me quite the way Returnal has. Despite 6 months after beating it, I still end up thinking about this game frequently and am drawn to go back and attempt to get the time-consuming Platinum Trophy. Just like Celine, I feel stuck in the world of Returnal and always end up thinking about the world and wanting to get lost in it again. While I can see why Returnal isn't for everyone, so far it's the standout example of the potential that games can have on the PlayStation 5. I am ranking Returnal number 1 on my best list of PlayStation 5 games, finally dethroning launch title Spider-Man Miles Morales. Returnal marks an important game for both Housemarque and the future of PlayStation Studios. In June of 2021, PlayStation made the announcement that they had acquired Housemarque and that Returnal had sold a little over 500,000 copies to date. I think this marks an important shift in PlayStation's release and acquisition strategy. Returnal, while kind of a third-person action-adventure game, offers an experience that feels markedly different from the titles that have made PlayStation Studios so famed like Uncharted, God of War, and The Last of Us. Additionally, Returnal didn't set the world on fire commercially. While it's since confirmed that other PlayStation 5 studio exclusives like Demon's Souls and Ratchet Clank Rift Apart have outsold Returnal by over 2-1 or even 3-1. I think this signals that PlayStation is willing to take more risks with the games they greenlight and are looking to develop a holistic portfolio of games that create experiences for all types of gamers. Thank you for watching this episode of Play, Rank, Share. Make sure to subscribe and ring the bell to be notified when future episodes are released. Many future episodes of Play, Rank, Share are in the pipeline as I have a backlog of reviews to be written. This includes Guardians of the Galaxy, Ratchet Clank Rift Apart, and Riders Republic. What are your thoughts on Returnal? Let me know in the comments below, and until next time, don't stop sharing.
My only hope is to break the cycle. Before the cycle breaks me.